welcome to Workplace Shift, a program that tackles the future of work and the paradigm shift that's happening within that realm. I'm Nicolette DeVidar. Almost every organization has it, and almost every organization and their employees are trying to find a way to deal with it. A multi-generational workforce. For the first time in history, we have 5 generations work together in today's organizations. 5 generations with a different way of operating, a different way of understanding, a different way of how they want to be engaged and involved, and a different focus in what they seek and what drives them. Add to that a different definition of what work means in their lives and how to go about it, and you'll understand why HR and management are seriously challenged. How can organizations manage and cater to 5 generations all at once? What do they need to look for and adjust to retain and engage them, and how can we bring out the best in all employees?
Generation of leaders, we feel that there are great challenges that we have in our world today, and by preparing them to be leaders, we're all in a better position as a society.
About managing the differences between the millennials and between the Gen X and how the millennials got the way there. But I don't want to just leave it at the millennials. So I'm thinking, so there's the workplace, the work environment. There are 5 generations in there. Most of the time we focus mainly on the millennials and talk even about us and them. But how is there a standard advice we can say for all of the generations in terms of being more open in how we manage each other?
We have diversity and inclusion programs, right, in organizations now a lot, right? And it's often about gender and race.
Yeah.
It's rarely about generations, yet there are biases that exist.
Do you know what drives your decisions? How do you select people you want to hire? How do you choose what you like? How do you form your opinion for or against something? Are you biased?
Stereotypes about certain groups of people that individuals from outside form their own conscious awareness. So it's also the bottom line stereotypes that people create without even realizing it.
Getting it is that there is really always a subjective personal interpretation. I'm not sure I would necessarily call that bias though. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on this one, because bias has been talked about so much and very often in a negative sense. So I think it's important for us to understand, you know, when does bias affect something and really you need to step away from it and kind of look objectively at a situation, or when is it just something that's just part of your personal standard? Yes, and particularly as we get organizations ready for the 21st century, we all know that organizations need to basically hire people that are the total opposite of what they used to hire previously. So they bring in new skill sets, new mindsets, fresh way of thinking, etc. Do you have a method that you normally work with organizations in how they can bypass falling into that trap?
Well, basically we have to just start with an assessment, you know, because every organization is different. And there's also times when the leadership changes, then a lot of things shift.
Are you a lifelong learner? How do you feel about that? In 2019, it would be the right time to become one if you've been reluctant so far to learning new skills and diving into new experiences. Human-machine collaboration is progressing fast. The World Economic Forum forecasted that by 2020, about 75 million jobs will be lost due to automation. They also say that at the same time, there's probably 130 million jobs newly created. However, those are jobs that today, they neither exist in title, in function, or in any other way we can refer to. So that means an awful lot of people will need to be retrained and upskilled. Artificial intelligence and robotics squeezing more and more into our everyday work life, automated one-way video interviews are becoming a growing feature of the recruitment process. The question is, are they here to stay? How useful are they really? Are they benefiting companies and candidates alike, or do they dehumanize the hiring process? And what does it really reveal about the candidates? As a recruiter, what does it really tell you about the candidates? Skills are among the most sought after skills in the digital age. Creativity, imagination, discernment, critical thinking, problem solving are the key in making digital technologies work. So, is the human the new center of the corporate universe? What does that mean for HR? And how do we manage people in an organization that puts the human in the center? Which role play HR information systems, and can they help bring out the best in people? So that it's not just the strategic business partner, but now with all those changes that are going on and putting the human in the center, so to speak, it really does become a strategic function. How can the people impact the business?
Yes.
So how do you overcome resistance among managers in other divisions, for example, that are using different systems that kind of tie in, for example, payroll administration and things like that? How do you overcome that resistance, in another department to kind of get along and really go towards a unified platform?
Yeah, so change management is key in any implementation of an HR system. There's always going to be resistance, whether it's technology or a change in process.
1 in 5 employees say they find a purpose in the work they do. That leaves the majority of us in a seemingly pretty unhappy state, particularly in a time when life and work are intertwined. With artificial intelligence and digitization conquering increasingly our day-to-day jobs, we're not only changing what we do and how we work, but we also begin to question why. So is the quest for purpose an added boost of the digital age? Can purpose match paycheck?
Work environment is one where you don't have the opportunity to grow.